NFC North. We started with Joe's last place team last time. We're going to start with Mike's last place team from the NFC North.
I hate to say this, guys. It's the Minnesota Vikings. I'm just kidding. I don't hate to say it. But it's hard to say that any of the other three teams could be in last when the Vikings are fielding Sam Darnold at quarterback. I know you believe in Sam Darnold, Tony. We've gone over this and gone through this a few times with Sammy D. He has the potential. He has the promise to be a solid quarterback in this league. We've seen it. He has the arm. It's just he makes so many mistakes that he's going to turn the ball over a bunch of times again, I think, this year. And Justin Jefferson is going to try to be the guy that carries this offense, but I don't even really trust the Vikes rushing attack either with hamstring Aaron Jones and that group. Who's their backup right now? Is it Ty Chandler still?
Yeah, probably. And I think they have Dwayne McBride still. So
I don't think that the rushing attack can be good enough to support Sam Darnold in this offense. And then the defense for the Vikes, it probably will get a little bit better with Brian Flores here in another year. I don't think it's going to be enough to compete in this division. I have the Vikes in last at 6-11. I hate the Vikings. I hate doing this, and I hate seeing the Vikings go through this because I really do sympathize with Vikings fans. I feel like they're the Chargers of the NFC. They always just have really good teams, and it's just what the hell happens every year.
Mike, I will definitely drive to your house if there's a Gary Anderson moment for the Chargers.
Well, me and my buddy who grew Gary Anderson missed the easiest field goal ever. I think
he was 38 of 38 that year. The team was 15-1. I would have bet everything that the Vikings were going to the Super Bowl that year. That was a team.
Sucks, man. I think Vikings fans still probably think about that every day. But my best friend from high school was a Vikings fan, and we made a pact when we were kids. If the Vikings and Chargers ever play in the Super Bowl, we don't care how much debt we're going into. We're going.
Yeah, that's a good pack to have. I would say that your money's pretty safe, guys.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking when we made it. Even as kids.
Yeah, don't save up. You don't have to save up.
Yeah. Joe, thoughts on the Vikings?
I don't understand how you're knocking the Minnesota Vikings when they got Gilmore, Jack Griffin, Byron Murphy on their defense. Sam Darnold as their quarterback, he just took a year to study in San Francisco, and you're just gonna knock him down with the best wide receiver in the game, Justin Jefferson. That don't mean nothing to you to just put him in last place. Because I'm putting. I've
always felt like Byron Murphy would be a great slot corner, and the Cardinals just never freaking used him there. They just let his career die outside.
Mike just killed my whole thing.
I know he did. He stepped on it. It's okay.
It wasn't that funny. That's why.
Okay, Joe's got him in last place because of the roster. I talked about this a bunch leading up when we were
doing not just roster, Tony. The schedule is brutal too.
The schedule is pretty brutal. I kept saying you guys are going to be surprised where I have the Vikings. I'm how many times did I say that this summer? Probably 5 to 10 times. I kept saying I'll wait till we get to schedule predictions. The JJ McCarthy injury really shook my confidence more because I do have faith in Sam Darnold, but my sort of safety net was my Michigan guy coming in and saving the day for the Vikings. He's out for the season. I have dropped the Vikings from a 10-win team to an 8-win team. I do have them in last at 8-9. I still just think that there's a good football team here, a well-coached football team. Kevin O'Connell showed last year with all the QB injuries that he had to be able to keep the team focused, and having an injury to Justin Jefferson, who ended up missing 8 or 9 games last year. So I look at it. I like Jonathan Grignard, bringing him in there. I like Aaron Jones. I understand what you're saying about the hamstring, but when you go from Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold and Nick Mullins, to me, it's different than Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy. And so I knocked it a little bit there. I also think too that the pass rush gets a little bit better, not better, different and more aggressive when you can have Dallas Turner and Grignard. as opposed to just having Daniil Hunter. I think Davenport was there, but was maybe injured, or I didn't notice him as much when I was watching the Vikings. So we all agree, Vikings last place in the NFC North. But I think still, even though you have them at 6 wins, Mike, wouldn't you say that it's a tough game? It's going to be a tough out. Like, it's not going to be, they're not going to get rolled over.
It's just the schedule's really tough. Like in their first 6 weeks or so, they play San Fran, Houston, Green Bay, New York, Detroit, LA Rams, Colts. Like I think those are all rollover. Like I think all those teams are going to easily beat the Vikings.
Yes, I disagree with the easy part, but yes.
I end up at 1-7 to start the year, and I had this with Sam Darnold or JJ either way.
Yeah, I'm with Tony. I would have given him a little bit more wins with JJ if JJ was there, because sometimes when you make that switch to a rookie quarterback, it pumps up the team just a little bit more. I'm not hating on Sam Darnold. I think he's going to surprise some people this year. But like I said, that schedule and the improvement that the other teams have made in this division, it was hard for me to move anywhere with the Vikings. But I only have the Vikings at 5 wins, 5-12.
Tony, I will say I do have the Vikings winning one division game this year.
But I see what Tony is saying, that they might be a 5-12 team, but their record won't show how good of a team they really are.
And it's the same way I feel about the Titans, right? Where it's like, I think the Titans are really going to battle teams this year. It's just the record might not reflect how good they actually are. Like, we'll feel a lot better about them in next year's draft when you're like, hey, they just added a top 8 pick in the draft to a team that was really battling the year before. So
kind of like Chargers fans every year. Our team is better than what it is, but you're not.
Okay.
The best 5-win team in the league. Last year, that was the Chargers. Chargers were the best 5-win team last year.
But we see it every year. There's always a team that their talent is good. They're in the games. They're 1 or 2 plays away from being 3 or 4 wins more than what they have. This could be that team this year. Just good team, just bad timing with everybody else being.
I think, so good. Me personally, I think that's more likely to be the Bears than the Vikings.
Yeah, but what about Joe? What would you say about a team that lost 7 one-score games because the coach wasn't very good? They're probably going to be better this year, right? That
maybe.
Team,
There's a chance.
Maybe, depending on the coach, if the coach doesn't have to change his diaper.
Oh, another shot. Joe, let's go to your first place team, right? This is Joe's turn to go from worst to first. Joe, first place team in the NFC North.
I got the Detroit Lions 11-6 up at number 1. Just because their schedule works out great for them. I think we've talked about this before. 3 games in the weather. Everything else is indoors, right? Was it week 9 is the first time they play outdoors, and then I think it's like week 15 and 16 is their next ones. So that favors them so much. Another year of their offensive line is so damn good. I don't care. I love the 1-2 punch of Montgomery and Gibbs, even with Gibbs a little banged up going into the season. Their defense continuing to keep everybody together and just build. This is a good young team. And they should be coming hungry again off of their loss last season. So I got them at 11-6 at the top of their division.
Yeah, I'm really for it. Lions fans, couple weeks, we'll have our site up. Go, nice little game day fit here. Little Dan Campbell t-shirt to rock to games this year. Really excited about the launch. We'll talk more about that in another episode. I also have the Lions finishing first in this division. They didn't win it for 30 years, and now I got them going back to back. I have them at a slightly lower record. I think I thought. Did you say 12 wins, Joe?
No, I got 11.
11. So I'm at 10-7. I really like the commitment to defense that the organization has showed. I think that Brad Holmes has done a fantastic job building up this roster. I know that I just was questionable about Marcus Davenport, but I think if he's not a focus, he's an addition. There's a difference there. Also, DJ Reader, a little bit older, coming off of an injury. But another player, when you start adding a couple of guys like that, and you're saying, hey, can you give us 400 snaps as opposed to 700 or 800 snaps? And if they can do that, then that helps out. And they also add a veteran corner that I think has been very underrated, Carlton Davis. It's like you start putting in these pieces, Brian Branch comes in with a better understanding of the NFL, having a year's experience there. Like, they did lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who I think is a tremendous, like, he just gets people jacked up no matter what he's doing, which was a big loss for them. And then they lost Jonah Jackson, I believe, from an offense. But the offensive line is so good. Did either of you guys check up on the Penei Sewell injury? Was it a serious one? I saw that he was injured. I didn't see. Not serious. Okay. So I still believe, offensive line is fantastic. I thought they had a great draft, too. Again, I really liked both of the corners they got in Arnold and Rakestraw. And then they got a player that I thought was really exciting was Sione Vaki. Like, guy who plays safety, plays running back. Just one of those guys that's just a football player. Like, it's like, oh, hey, where do you need me, coach? Great. Let me go into that meeting room. I'm going to go learn. And I'm just here to kick ass. So I thought they had a nice draft and have put together a nice team. And like Joe said, the schedule there, the indoor stuff, I could see them. At one point, I had them as a 12, flirting with 13 win team. But as I was looking around more, I'm like, I couldn't go that high. So I am at 10 wins. What thoughts on the Lions, Mike? Still a hater?
I'm with you guys. No, I'm with you guys. And I told you guys at the beginning of the show that I'll jump on the board if the Lions won the division last year. I'm not going to go back on it now. I got the Lions winning the division as well. Didn't they add a guard too? I think they got a guard out of Baltimore or something too. Like, they had one hole in this offensive line and they filled it. I think you said a lot of great things about the defense, especially the Carlton Davis point, which what I was going to say about that was I'd rather pay Carlton Davis than the guy that got paid the other day. So that's a win for the Lions. They didn't have to pay Carlton Davis the same money that AJ Terrell's getting, even though Carlton Davis is, an edge of top 10 corner in the league at age 27 still. So that's perfect for the Lions because now the rest of their secondary, everyone just goes back a little bit when it comes to the pressure that's on them to perform and be cornerback ones. Like, they're not relying on a youngster, a second-year player, to go out there and be the cornerback one this year. You got an experienced guy that's going to do it at a high level. And then one more thing I wanted to add, because you did that so beautifully, Tony, and we're already at an hour. I think that it's finally the year and the path has been paved. All the drama's gone. The injuries, knock on wood, have been cleared for the Jameson Williams breakout year. And when you watch this kid on tape, it's like, how is he not already one of the top receivers in the NFL? Because every play you watch, you're impressed. It's a lot like a Malik Neighbors type of explosiveness when it comes to Jameson Williams. He just can't stay on the field, stay out of trouble, fill in the blank. This year finally happens. You got Amon-Ra out wide, and Jameson Williams is going to have an amazing season.
Yeah, so I think it was either Goff or somebody else on the offense was saying that Goff has got that trust with Jameson that he hasn't maybe that he's going to be in the right spot, or they're reading the same part of the defense, and there could be some more shots there. Lions, I think that they are a sneaky wide receiver addition team since the trade deadline is back. I think Brad Holmes has been aggressive. I don't think they would be afraid to, hey, Raiders aren't doing good. Let's talk about Devontae Adams there. Maybe the Bengals, there's an injury there. It's like, the Bengals know they're going to lose T. Higgins. Hey, let's go. Can we get T. Higgins on a long-term deal, whatever it is? I could see the Lions saying, let's add that another wide receiver to this mix and really try and put things over the top here. I got the Lions in the Super Bowl. They're my NFC Super Bowl team. Like, I'm ready here for it. I'm rooting. When I went back to visit my grandfather this season, he said that was the most fun he's had watching football since Scott Mitchell, Brett Perryman, Herman Moore, and Barry Sanders back in the early 90s. So I
got him at 12. Did I say that? I got him at 12. You said 11, Tony?
Yeah. I said 10 wins. 10 wins. I had them at one point flirting with 12 to 13 wins. It's just that this division is incredibly tough. I said 10-7. The other team I have at 10-7, the Green Bay Packers right behind them. I give the division to the Lions based on the overall division record. But the Packers, again, everybody in this division has a tough schedule because of, I think all four teams are really good. So you have 6 tough games automatically, and then just the out of conference that you're playing there. But as far as the Packers, Could the defense just live up to the amount of talent that they have on the roster? And it's like a couple of years ago, I was saying how good the defense is going to be, and it wasn't there. I was watching NFL Network the other day. They're talking about the new defensive coordinator they brought in, the maybe some more 4-man, some more even fronts that they're going to have, which is going to allow Kenny Clark, very underrated interior guy, to maybe have a little bit more success in there. And they just have so many players across the D line, and they've continued to add at corner and other parts of the secondary. So I'm excited to see whether or not Edrin Cooper can make a difference in year one, because if he can, I think Quay Walker is an outstanding linebacker who every year I talk about how Quay Walker is going to break out. And I had him as defensive rookie of the year, his rookie season. I think the Packers could – I could be underrating how good the Packers are this year, but I have them at 10-7, finishing second in the division. Mike?
Yeah, I got him at 10-7 also. I almost got the exact same prediction as you, Tony. I think they're going to be a very similar team to last year. The offense might be a little bit better. Just another year with Jordan Love. You added another back that's been proven, to lead the league in rushing yards before, no matter how much you hate him now, because he's in Green Bay. And even if it doesn't work out with Josh Jacobs, they've kind of got a fallback there in the Marshawn Lloyd pick. If he could stay healthy, and then Dylan's there to take some of the tough short yardage work that you don't want Josh Jacobs just smashing his head against the wall. So I think the Packers are going to be a very similar team to last year. The defense is almost the exact same starting lineup when you go down it. It's pretty close to identical, and it's just like another year of chemistry with all these guys. And I think they win 10 games. I think that's pretty safe bet right there, and they're right there with the Lions, but it's just not quite as loaded of a team to beat some of these tough teams like San Fran or Philly, or they're probably, I think they play Dallas this year. So there is some tough games in there where I'm leaning the other way against the Packers. I would be leaning towards the Lions.
Yeah, and this is the youngest offense in the league right here, or offensive weapons in the league. They have a great receiving core. If they could all stay on the field at the same time, my record is more based. I have the Packers coming in second place. I have them with the same record as the Lions at 11-6. So it's not like I have them falling too far behind. I'm banking on the fact that Jordan Love plays the season like he played the end of last season. Mm-hmm. But if he starts the season like he did last year and they're 50%, then this team could drop a little bit more. But that's what I'm banking it more on. Jordan Love taking that next step towards being a top NFL quarterback in this league, and being the one that drives and not getting suckered in by some of these defensive coordinators in the league. And I think their pass rush should be there this year for their defense. I think their defense should be able to get to the quarterback and help out a lot. So, we saw what the Packers did last year. They were an interception away. Same thing with the Lions. They were both right there on the door of knocking off the San Francisco 49ers, and they both failed. So I think,
and same with the Ravens and the Chiefs, man.
Yeah. So the Packers are in that situation where the wide receiver core, it's not quite the top end talent, isn't the same as the Bengals. But if you go 1 through 5, like if you go, whether you have Dobbs or Wicks or Watson in that area there, but then you have Jaden Reed and Bo Melton, like they're really good. And then you get Kraft, Musgrave. I think the addition of Jacobs is really nice. So I know I'm just basically, naming all the players on the offense, but that's a lot of really, really talented players that they have there. The one question I have, and why maybe I couldn't have them winning the division or going higher, I just want to see how the offensive line shakes out. Jordan Morgan, I don't know if he's getting snaps. I forgot to check the depth chart, projected the Our Lads style of their offensive line. But if that line is strong and they have a history of figuring it out in Green Bay, then really, really great things for the Packers this year.
I think you're onto something there, Joe, when you say the tape being out on Love, defenses being able to play him now. Because he did have kind of his knock coming out of college, a little bit of an interception issue, and maybe they can start to bait him a little bit now that they've seen some of his tendencies and stuff. I even remember after Herbert's first year, teams started forcing him to just check it down over and over again. And we were talking about how they figured out that this guy will just make the right read and go with the passive play if you cover up everything down the field. And we saw half the big plays the next season, even out of Herbert. Now, half the big plays versus starting to throw interceptions is a big difference. But
yeah,
now one player
he had 5K that year, Mike.
yeah,
one player everybody needs to keep an eye on this year, and I think, and he's on the Green Bay Packers, and I hate it every time I see him over there because he's a former Raider, and the Raiders let go of him too early. But I think the new kickoff rules are going to help him a lot, and that's Nixon, Keyshawn Nixon of the he plays defense. I think he's the nickelback, but he's also the kick returner for him. I think if anyone's going to set a record or have a good enough new kickoffs in this new rule, it's going to be him. I think he'll take at least 3 back this year.
he's kind of got that perfect like size and speed combo to run through a tackle and then break the hell out of there, and the whole crowd's chasing him. I think that this kickoff rule thing, it's gonna make some of these games super high scoring. We're gonna see more than one 60+ pointer again this year, like last year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I didn't mention that when we were talking about the Steelers, but I thought that's a sneaky move for the Steelers too, is adding Cordell Patterson. Yeah. Right? Like we're not really seeing how that's going to look in the preseason, but another one of those teams that they find a way. You know, good teams are really.
They said they're going to run Fields back there, right? That return man.
Yeah, whoever, Jalen Warren trying to grab some headlines in the offseason. You're not putting.
Ironically, Warren's the guy that would probably take a shit ton back.
Let's talk about the Chicago Bears to wrap this up from North predictions. I have them at 3rd, 9-8. They are going to be my 7th seed in the NFC. And I do this every year. I am an emotional human being, and Hard Knocks, for whatever reason, I enjoy it, and they always get the inflation of everything. And I just really like the way that the roster's constructed, the defense, the offense, and Caleb he shines. Is there going to be some rough moments where he's maybe trying to make too many plays? Sure. But all the great quarterbacks do that. There's going to be way more good than bad, and that's enough. All of the additions are well documented, the big names, but I don't think that we've talked enough about DeAndre Swift, right? Where it's like adding that to this offense, to Caleb, to be able to give him that type, that caliber of a player, I think is absolutely tremendous. And when you go through the departures, it's like they pretty much upgraded all the spots. You know, like when you're talking about Donta Foreman leaves, it's like, well, they still have Khalil Herbert and Swift, and Fields leaves. We think Caleb Williams is an upgrade at that spot. You know, they lose a veteran like Eddie Jackson, but they're able to, I believe they signed Kevin Byard is there. So it's like, now you're looking around and you're going, hey, they didn't fall off anywhere. They got better. And one of the rookies that they drafted, Booker, the kid that it was like, well, maybe he's too small, or maybe he doesn't have enough pass rush moves or whatever. The kid's out there just playing with his hair on fire in the preseason. It's like, hey, if you can do that, and they can try to figure out to run out enough guys opposite of Sweat to get some pass rush, I think the defense is going to be really good. They've invested in linebacker, and I think that's really key. So I got the Bears. It's only a 2-game improvement too. That's the weird thing. I can't remember a time that a team that won 7 games the year before also got the first pick in the draft. Yeah. So it's like asking them to win 2 more games doesn't feel like a huge stretch.
No, it doesn't at all. I have them at 8 and 9 also, and I have them in 3rd too. So I think you got them at 9 and 8. We're 1 win off. Yeah. I have them starting 0-4. So that's a huge chunk of their 8, and then getting hot in the second half of the year and really looking impressive, like you're saying, Tony. I don't think I'm gonna have the Bears making the playoffs, but I don't think I've really predicted a rookie to just take their team to the playoffs in year 1 before. So it's not like it's abnormal. I think Caleb Williams is going to make rookie mistakes. I think his play style is going to lead to that. It's going to happen, and it's going to be a growth year for him. I know Bears fans are super excited, and they just want to jump in and compete immediately, but you're in but one of the toughest divisions in football. It's going to take 10, 11, 12 wins to win this division. I don't even think that's like in the possibility. I think this is a massively successful year. If they miss the playoffs by 1 game and Caleb Williams wins Rookie of the Year, we're cheering it at the end for the Bears.
I don't think that. I think they have to make the playoffs for it to be successful.
I don't know. Like, I can think of like on one hand how many rookies have made the playoffs their first year. So I never expected out of a rookie quarterback.
Well, especially a rookie quarterback that's been sort of the catalyst for it, but I think that's the unique position Williams is in is because of how good the defense is. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like
when you look at the division itself, like there's not really like a lot of room. Like, I think there's more room for Washington to sneak in than when you talk about who they're gonna have to play versus the Bears.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
See, I have the Bears coming in third at 9-8, but the Bears are. I hope I'm overrating them. I don't know why. I hope so, but they're also one of those teams, Mike. Like looking at their schedule, they got the benefit of the doubt on this schedule. They don't play their own division. They don't play anybody in their division until week 12, and week 12 to week 18 is all like almost all division games. Before that, they have a good shot. Like if you're looking at their schedule, right? Tennessee, Houston, Indianapolis, the Rams, Panthers, Jaguars. Then they have their bye, Washington, Arizona, New England. Those could all be wins right there. They could run off an 8-0 start, 9-0 start. They could. I'm just saying. I'm not saying they will. But
well, anyone could with that logic. Yeah, but anyone could.
Yeah.
The only tough game in there that you would be like, oh, that team could beat them would be Houston, and that would be like your guaranteed win. But the rest of them, I'm not really sold on them. They're iffy games. I think Hard Knocks, we always do this. Every year Hard Knocks makes a team better than they are, and we all jump on it. But I like the Bears offensive line, like all the Caleb Williams plays in the preseason that everybody's all excited about. What's the one thing he's doing on those plays? He's running for his fucking life on every one of those plays. And we're like, oh, it's a great play. But is he going to do that over a 17-game season where he's running every damn play from these offensive linemen, not blocking them? I mean, I don't think the Bears have improved the offensive line enough. They went out and got you weapons, but you're going to be in the same situation that you were with the young quarterback, just with better weapons.
Well, let's talk about week 1 and that offensive line versus Tennessee's defensive line right away. Like, just right out the jump here. I have the Bears losing that.
I think at home, Tennessee.
I know it makes sense. I know.
I'm not picking. The game is in Chicago. Like the fans are going to be hyped.
I'm with you. I have them losing the game, but if we're talking about the first 4 games, let's say that's the only game I think that they're going to win out of the first 4 games if they win games. Because like Indy's going to beat them, and as long as the Rams are healthy by the time they get there, week 4, we're talking about. We got 4 games under the Rams' belt. You think that Caleb's going to go in there and swat Stafford down like that? I don't know.
I don't. It's interesting, right? Like that's why we watch, because we have no idea what's going to happen. We don't have any insight, as far as like into the locker rooms, the game plans, whatever. Like that's why this is all so compelling, and I'm so excited for football. We are a little over 11 days away from kickoff.
There is something about the Bears going 4-0 in preseason affecting their record in the regular season. Like it doesn't happen often, but the last time it does, like the Bears go to Super Bowls or something like that. I don't know, Mike. You want to check into that?
You might want to send that to me. Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
That's a fun video for Mike, and for Mike to just come back and have to make a correction on the next show. Hey, everybody, got the Bears 10-7, and the 5.
I want them to go 10-7. Trust me. I love the Bears. You got my college team's quarterback with my favorite player of all time, which is why I can't watch Hard Knocks, because I don't want to see Keenan on there. It's just
good news, because they don't show him at all, really. Like,
okay. Maybe I should watch it.
Really a part of the show. It's been a little soft, I would say, overall this year for Hard Knocks. I still watch it and enjoy it. Getting ready to watch a Steve McNair documentary this weekend at some point about that tragedy that happened so long ago. I didn't even know it was on there. It just popped up on the Netflix. It's like, oh, you might be interested in this. I'm like, you're damn right, algorithm. I am interested in this. Yeah. Recommend me some more stuff like this. Okay, I hope everybody has a great weekend. We appreciate you stopping by. We're three friends who love talking football. We're always looking for a fourth. We're excited to launch fun game day T-shirts we got coming out for most of the teams. We'll be talking more about that on a later episode.